Hello, welcome back to the PoddiMouths podcast. I am Peyton Cubic, and this is where my dad and his friend John talk about random stuff in life or the things they found on the internet. I hope you enjoy listening to this episode as much as I did. Here they are now.
Well, I really wish you would have said they bring it on Spanky when I hit record, but it took a minute because so I was telling John I'm giving the app, so Riverside.fm, not a sponsor, but definitely something that you could help us out with by clicking on the link that's always following the description of every podcast that we do. But I was telling John that I decided to try the app on my computer rather than going through the browser because they have this app. It hasn't been working very well for at least for me. And they had a series of updates, so I wanted to see if it works just because it's supposed to.
Air quotes if you're listening.
Air quotes, yeah. Oh, and now my computer's yelling at me because I had my effects turned off.
Yes. Oh, you need them turned on.
I need them turned on. Why? So let me reactions on. There we go.
Well, that's delightful. Now you have to clean up all that confetti.
Yeah. You know, it's funny in this office when I was cleaning it up when we were putting the house on the market, I had these Halloween lights that were supposed to be like voodoo bottles of poison. So the light sat in these little bottles, and at the bottom there was glitter. So you could shake them up and it would do funky things.
Wow.
I had them up here because, remember, these two doors that you see behind me, this one to my left and to my right, which is screen difference, those are doors to the attic. So this is where we store everything.
Both of them? Like different parts of the attic?
Different parts of the attic.
Got
the stairway, which is right behind me, splits the attic.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
Anyway, they usually get stored up there, but they were sitting out for a while because we were moving some stuff around, and the cork on one of the lights popped out, and there was glitter everywhere up here. And I vacuumed probably 6 times, and we're still pulling glitter out of the vacuum. Whenever
oh my gosh.
It's bad.
That's awesome.
Anyway, I don't know why I even got to the glitter conversation. You and your because of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's not doing it.
No, it isn't. Well, it wasn't glitter. It's not doing it.
It's not doing it.
Ah, I feel.
It yelled at me, and now it's not doing it.
Used.
Go fig. I feel used too.
I used to feel used.
Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
No, it was confetti.
Maybe
it
it's for the
glitter.
Better.
It was confetti.
It was confetti.
Way better than glitter.
Yeah. Well, you're right. You are right, John.
It's good to hear that. I just haven't heard that from you
rarely.
much.
I know. I hear it rarely as well.
You really? Well, you're right about that. Thank you.
On that note.
Well done.
I'm going to shut up and drink my.
What do you got? I didn't know we were doing happy hour.
I almost spilled all over myself. I was going to turn the logo around.
Irish coffee?
I wish. That's not a bad idea.
No,
I didn't have to do other things today.
Oh yeah, well, you don't have to do other things.
No, it is a medium roast because they were out of their light roast. Medium roast, and I did 2 pumps of it's a honey. They have a new honey thing on the list if you're ordering from the app.
2 pumps of honey.
2 pumps of honey and a splash of coconut milk.
File that under. Sounds dirty, but isn't. Yes.
It sounds very dirty, but it's not bad.
Okay.
Honey blend syrup is what they call it.
And what's the name of the place where you got the coffee? Just curious.
I don't know. It's a very obscure, very small brand.
I don't know
if you've ever heard of it.
I just want to make sure we give proper dingage.
The Bar Stucks. Bar Stucks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That may be their next name. Which reminds me, and I can use a proper name for this because it's a great story. There was a town council, one of the biggest dealerships in my home state of Wisconsin is Bergstrom. And they're friends of mine and wish I could say friends of the podcast, but it may be better if they don't listen. Anyway, they're great people, good family, and they are friends. One of the city councils thought that there were too many, as they're multiplying these stores. I don't know how many they have now, but in the 30s, I would guess, just a guess. And they decided, because the town council said, we can't not have another Bergstrom dealership in the area over the course of the next, 6 months. They put a time frame on it.
Jeez.
And so they changed the name of the store to Stromberg. Yes.
Nice.
I love those guys. And they've since changed it. I mean, they are, as I said, the largest car dealer in the state of Wisconsin, and they're just good people. And yeah, it's funny to see stuff like that happen.
That is really funny.
I guess we can't change it now.
Well, speaking of fans of the podcast, though,
yes.
We do have a couple of new, I wouldn't necessarily, I don't know if we can categorize them as fans, but we do have a couple new listeners, and that is because, and this was kind of fun, and as policy for PoddiMouths for the last 7 years, we don't talk about who we actively work for.
Not really. We just think it's a good idea not to.
Sometimes, most people can go to our profiles and figure it out pretty quickly, but it's just something that John and I decided on a long time ago. Because I'm not breaking that at all. However, our two new listeners, or a couple of our new listeners, come from John's new place of employment, who shall remain nameless. But I'm really excited that John has found a new home and that we have new listeners. That's mostly the most important part. Right there.
It's not about John's glad you're happy, but more importantly, we have new listeners. Yeah, I know.
So I am excited about.
So I'm working 10 different jobs now, so we can get an extra 20 listeners.
Right.
You're welcome.
Hey,
no.
You know what? Talk about getting in on the ground floor.
Yes, right. Exactly. So yes, it's a good thing. And that is something that you and I were just chatting about, was being back in the active workforce. Not that I haven't been actively working, but more freelance up until recently. And I'm grateful and excited to kind of get back to the old thing. But it's also what you and I talked about, that there's that little piece of travel that goes hand in hand with that. And I'm having to revisit all of my old travel rules that, frankly, I forgot over the course of time. So, packing differently, because, you've always been you've been a master at that, because, I'm going to go with just a backpack, and you're going for
I usually just carry one backpack.
Because I think you just buy new clothes because you're kind of a clothes horse.
Not really. Although we can talk about that later. Let's continue with your story.
Later on. Well, the story is just that it's different type of packing when you're traveling for business. And I think you and I agree. I don't, other than for vacations or whatever, I do not check bags on flights. I just won't do it.
Yeah, I don't.
Even if I have to pay for the carry-on, which is another thing that, you get to pay for a carry-on. That's super. I did, however, I will have to correct your statement just slightly. In the end, before I got this new job and started traveling a lot less, like I haven't traveled at all, I did start carrying 2 bags. What?
And it was just a lot easier. And I will admit, sometimes I put one of the bags in the big bag, but I think I shared it with you before, but I have a bag. No, wait. It'll explain. I'll explain it. Just
it's
chill.
more important for me to ask this question. One bag inside another bag.
Yeah.
That's you're nesting. That's not right. Okay.
I'm nesting my bags. Anyway,
now keep going.
I have a bag that lays flat completely that I can, so it's a what do they call it? A garment bag. And you put your good clothes, like your suits, in the garment part of it, and then you zip it up, and then it rolls up into a duffel bag. So then I can put the rest of my stuff in there. One of the biggest problems I always had with my one bag method was I never had a good place to put my suits if I had to travel with those. So I would either have to wear the suit even on a day I wasn't meeting, just so I could, not have it all wrinkled. And I am very good about most of my suits, and most of my clothes are the wrinkle-free clothes, so I don't have that big of an issue. But still, it got annoying, even to steam some of it. But anyway, the bag was big enough on some trips where I could actually slide my backpack in there as well. So I could carry the backpack, which always has my computer and all of my accessories to the computer. So if I had to carry an HDMI cord so I could plug into a monitor and things like that. So I didn't want to carry my big duffel bag into stores with my computer in there. That's why I carry 2 bags.
I'm just picturing that in my
long
head.
Story short, I did get to a point where I was carrying 2 bags again.
Yeah. And that's, to me, that's not that big a deal. In fact, especially in airports, my roller bag and then the backpack either goes on my back or sits on top of the roller bag. So it's a buddy of mine used to say, yeah, my roller bag is like my mule. And so I'm not sure why Jim called it that, but yeah, it was his mule to carry his duffel bag.
All of his stuff.
Yeah. You got it.
And that's the other thing. I do prefer roller bags. I don't like taking them on flights, I guess, because roller bags are great, but if you are like I was at the end of my traveling career, I like to get in and out really fast of everything. And just having a backpack or even a duffel bag it's so quick and easy. So I shied away from roller bags, even though I do prefer them if I'm doing a long trip or something.
Yeah. And so my first one upcoming is 3 nights, and it's just tough to pack for that. It's so anyway, we'll see how it works out. And I've had, like you, many times where I get to my destination and go, oh crap, I forgot socks.
Yeah.
So you either
I've done that many times.
Florida man with no socks. No, this is the new thing. And your bare feet inside your dress shoes.
Surprise, that is kind of a thing, though. We've had that conversation before in groups, multiple groups of my friends, where some people just can't. It's almost a phobia when they see people not wearing socks inside their dress shoes. But it is a thing. It is a style. And there are other people like, no, that's so stylish. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's a loafer thing. And I can do it here with casual shoes. And in fact, hold on. I have them right here, I think. Yes, I do. And these are cool.
Save them for your OnlyFans.
Whatever. Dr. Scholl's. These are Go Sockless insoles. So they're
nice.
Like they're like sock fabric on the inside of the insoles. And so for those shoes that I sometimes wear with shorts, almost always, Florida, hello. It just makes sense, and it's easier, and so I can pull it off with those. Others, you do the low socks, and can you see them? Can you not? I don't know. It's too much effort for me. But yeah, when I'm with a suit or with even just a sport coat and jeans, I'm gonna wear socks.
Yeah. I always wear. I have gotten. I don't wear dress socks very much. I got several ankle socks that are of different colors, so they match. So we have polos at work that we can match to, so they all match one or the other of my polos. So
awesome.
Yeah, but
have you ever been the sock guy? Have you ever gone with like the wild sock things? Did you ever go on that path? No, neither. Move along.
I have a couple of pair, but those were accidents.
I have a Christmas pair, I think, that I keep. Whatever. But yeah, I'm not. Some people, they have made that's a statement exactly about themselves. Okay, I guess that's fine. It's just
I work with a couple of those folks,
and that's fine. Again, it's not a judgment thing. It's just preference and what you like. Absolutely. And dress socks versus, as you said, something that's a little more comfortable. Here is what it is. I think you're absolutely right. It's a personal thing, but it's also a statement thing because, people, let's face it, offices now, and I'm only speaking about my offices now are much more casual than they ever used to be. So I can, and I wear jeans, a polo, and tennis shoes. Mm-hmm. Now the shoes that I'm wearing right now are the ones that I have been wearing, but I did go out and buy a new pair because the ones I am wearing are a little bit loud. They're not as loud as some of my other shoes, but they are, they're white and they're orange and they're actually trail running shoes that I bought, not to trail run, but also because I like to hike.
and they're good when it's hot out to hike in these versus my hiking boots.
I'm frankly a little surprised because honestly, I thought every time we did our podcast that you were wearing like suit pants and some very nice glossy shoes.
Yes, every single time.
Okay.
Anyway, that's only when I podcast. Yeah. I'm talking about when I go into the office.
Oh, and then you take them off and okay, good.
Mm-hmm, yeah. But anyway, so it's, I think even though it's much more relaxed and we can get away with that, it's still, you can't really, like I would never, one of my favorite outfits, and trust me, I cannot pull this off, but one of my favorite outfits would be tennis shoes, jeans, a t-shirt, and a sports coat. Like a graphic t-shirt and a sports coat. And I would probably always wear a hat if I could.
Yes.
We can't do that in the office. That's going just a little bit too far.
Sure.
And I think because of that, a lot of people just want to have something that they can kind of get away with. That's a little bit more them. So they can kind of, and I think the socks are one of the ways to do that.
Oh, that's a good point. So how about, you mentioned the t-shirt and the jacket. I see two issues with that. Number one, graphic versus like a black t-shirt, for example.
Yep.
Maybe,
I prefer graphic.
Not that they're formal, but here's the thing. Graphic, okay, maybe, but even just a black one or a nice white t-shirt. What if when you get to work, you're probably not going to see your desk all day with your jacket on. And so suddenly it becomes way more casual than if you were walking around with your sport coat, right?
That's a really good point. Yeah. And it really also depends on the business. And I'm saying that because it's more of an extreme. I bet you in my office, no one would bat an eye at that. I don't think anyone would really care, to be perfectly honest. But if you went back before COVID, that would be different because we were a lot more formal, not necessarily that formal, but we were like, I know for a fact that before that, in other offices that I worked in, you would not show up in jeans.
Yeah. Well, and I think
unless it was Friday.
That's right. But that seems to have morphed a little bit too. And you're right. Maybe it's COVID. I'm not sure though, because
I'm using that as it's
no.
That's when we saw the biggest change.
I don't disagree, but I think for the business we're in, when we were talking to, and everybody knows that it's automotive related. So when we were talking to dealers or even at manufacturers, we try and reflect the way they dress. And
yes,
you see some dealers who, it's kind of a crapshoot. Some are going to wear suits and ties and nice Allen Edmonds shoes and all of that. Others are going to wear polos and jeans and comfy shoes. And all of that's fine. I mean, it's not for us to say how you choose to dress when you own the store. But
right, how you represent your business.
Exactly. So we kind of had to reflect it. And somebody wearing a polo shirt, if I come in with a suit and tie, there's just not a real connection like there sometimes is if it's a pair of jeans and a nice sport coat and button-down shirt. So it's sometimes it's all about reflecting your clients and who they are. And COVID 100%. Probably had something to do with that. But I think some of that for us changed even before COVID.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Anyway,
cool. We put that to bed.
To what? Well, I was going to go back to the travel thing. So
we still can.
Speaking of two things. One, when it comes to the travel bags and stuff like that, the other reason I stopped doing a roller bag, to be perfectly honest. Hey, look, it worked.
Well, you're scratching your arm.
I am scratching.
Yeah. Thumbs up. Hey, Nick, it looks like you got the spot you were trying to scratch.
Exactly. Anyway, I carried a roller bag until I was visiting stores that were in smaller communities. So when I flew from Nashville to, say, Texas, I flew from Nashville to Houston, plenty of cargo space, plenty of overhead space. But then I would fly from Houston to, I don't know, Harlingen.
Okay.
And exactly.
Not as much.
Yeah. And you're on a 2-in-1. Yeah. And that's without first class. Yep. There is no overhead space, not enough to fit your roller bag. So you end up having to check it. That's when I started carrying smaller bags and bags that I could just stuff into smaller overheads.
Well, and that's another big check, issue. Right? Gate check.
Yeah. Gate check. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is easier, but still it's checking your bag.
And I know I've told you this, that years ago, I remember telling you that I went on a flight like that. It was like the puddle jumper from one to another, maybe a 40-minute flight. And we had to gate check our bags and got there. And this is at night, got to our destination, and they forgot to put the gate check bags on the plane.
Oh,
exactly. And it was the last flight of the night. And we're like, seriously? How can you not put the gate check bags on? Okay, let her go, Bob. I couldn't believe it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They're out of business now. Shocker.
I bet. So the second thing I wanted to say is yes, I have not traveled in a long time. My job does not require a ton of travel. And the season has come, and because of the state of the country and the state of our business, there were some cutbacks. So there was some expectation that I was going to travel, several times a year, but not very often, not like once a month, once maybe a quarter at the most, and that would be extreme. But since everything was cut, there was travel cut out. So we were not supposed to travel at all this year. So I was in no rush. A couple of reasons beyond this part, but I was in no rush to get the new ID, the real ID.
Yep.
Because
you still don't. I don't
have it. No.
Oh.
No. I wasn't going to get it because we're planning on moving. So I didn't want to go get a new driver's license and then have to turn around and go get another new driver's license. I know it's only $12, but still.
Yeah.
It's
money. The hassle of having to do it. It's the hassle
of it and all that junk, especially with as many people that live in Nashville as that do now.
Yes.
So I decided not to get that. I also have not renewed my passport.
Oh.
So I don't have a updated passport. I'm like, not a big deal. I'm not planning on traveling internationally for a while, and because I don't have enough vacation time yet earned. That's one of the problems of starting a new job.
Sure.
You have to restart your tenure. But I haven't done any of that. And then my boss informs me this past week, hey, be prepared to travel in July. I think we're going to be going somewhere. I'm like, are you kidding me?
You better get on that passport.
So now I got to get on, either get my passport or get my real ID.
Well,
passport doesn't need an address, does it? I don't think mine has my address.
No, not a street address, although I don't think so. I think mine.
You need somewhere to send it to, but it's not actually in the passport.
Right. I don't think it is. No, it says the city where it was renewed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, I could look at it. I have mine.
I could too. Mine too. I'm just too lazy. But yeah, that's so I would, if you had to choose them, I would do the passport because that will get you on all domestic flights too.
Yes. Yeah.
And
I can get a passport ID as well, which will do the same.
Sure. That's the, what's that called?
It's an add-on to your passport. I had one once, and because when I was younger, we would fly to Canada a lot. And Canada, you didn't have to carry your passport. You just carried the card. I can't remember.
Like not universal ID, but something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, I had one too.
Yeah, they were great. I don't think there is. Now with the real ID, it might be just as useful.
Yeah.
But I don't think going to Canada or Mexico, you can still use it anymore. I don't remember.
I don't either. I haven't been either of those directions for quite some time. So
that leads me to another thing, though. Yes. I got an email recently that my TSA Pre-Check is about to expire. And I was thinking, you know what? I don't really need to renew it. But now here's the thing, not because of the travel coming up or the possibility of travel coming up, but I'm torn because I have until November, but it was, do I renew it or do I not? And I'm thinking to myself, I don't travel very much, but I remember the hassle of not having pre-check. I think it might actually be worth to keep it, even though I don't travel very much.
It's $80, or I think is what we paid for Lisa's when we just did her 90. And
you've got some credit cards that'll actually pay for it.
Well, that's cool. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
It's a perk of some of them.
Okay. Well, I obviously don't have the high dollar credit cards like you do. Mine are just they're
high dollar.
No,
they're maxed out.
I still have JCPenney. Does JCPenney do it on theirs?
I think so. Absolutely.
I'm just kidding. I haven't seen that, but that's cool if you can get that to work. Or it's probably expensible. I'm not sure, depending upon the company, but if you're going to travel a lot, that would certainly be something that would
make sense. I would do that.
Yeah.
I don't think mine will.
At one of the old companies you and I were with, that's exactly what happened. And
oh, really?
Of course it was
I always paid for it myself.
Then. Yeah, you probably should have. You should have
checked with you. Yeah. Damn it.
Sorry.
Wait, can I expense it now?
Try. Yeah. Let me know how that goes. Yeah, I'm sure that'll be a topic of conversation.
I think so. Yep. So that's
cool.
my biggest. I might actually let though, because I also have what's the I thing, the clear. I also have clear.
Oh, okay.
I might let my clear lapse though, and just keep pre-check because I can always redo clear.
It seems always airport specific to me. Clear does,
it is. Like the Nashville airport.
Yeah.
I know you haven't been in a while, but the Nashville airport, if you park in the parking garage, you can actually take a bridge over the road and you come into the terminal and you're taking a big long escalator down into where all of the security stuff is. It's really cool. I'll send you a picture of Peyton standing at the top of the escalator.
Yeah.
But you can look because you can see clear off to your left. And then right next to it is TSA Pre-Check, and you can see the lines on both. So sometimes I'll do clear, sometimes I'll do pre-check.
Based on the line,
awesome. Because sometimes pre-check is just that much faster.
Yeah.
Because clear has got a really long line.
So you don't need pre-check. I mean, if you have clear and you can get through there,
you still need pre-check because there are some airports that have clear, but it's not TSA pre-check clear. It's just clear to get you through the line faster.
Got it.
And then you've got TSA pre-check, and because like in Nashville, you have the left section, like the four security lines left of everyone else. Those are specifically for pre-check.
Got it.
And then the rest of them are regular.
Well, but I guess I thought clear had like its own security, but it doesn't. It just gets you there faster.
It just gets you there faster.
Got it. Got it. Because I've never
like
used
Denver Airport, much faster to go through clear than it is to go through pre-check.
Pre-check. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Denver's one of those airports I used to really like to go because I flew United, and that was a hub for them, or is
still. Yep.
Gosh, it was just easy because, I'm at gate 40 and 60 is my connection. Yeah. Okay. I know exactly how to get there. You don't have to do mazes like you do in Chicago sometimes or other places. But man, they've had a lot of construction there, and
huge amount of construction.
I know, and just so much weirdness that goes along with it. So whatever. Detroit still remains my favorite airport.
Seriously, I've never been to the Detroit airport.
Well, especially for connecting, because I know my way around, but you'll often have to do a tunnel to Terminal B from A if you're there, but at least you know where it is. It was funny. Lisa was there one time, and for some reason we weren't together. She said, and she's just all stressed out, and I probably told you this too. And she calls me and she said, I'm in Detroit and I'm just stressed and my flight doesn't leave for 2 hours. And I said, where are you? And she said, I'm by gate 38. I said, okay, turn to your left. And there is whatever the wine place is.
Yeah. I said, it's Wine Down or something like that.
No, it was Vino Volo or something.
Vino Volo.
Does that sound right?
That's it. Yep.
And she said, yes. I said, go in there, have some wine, get something to eat and relax. And then she called back a little later and said, how did you know? Don't ask. Yeah. Gate 38 though is right by the tunnel. So I knew where the thing was. It was funny.
I did that with Jen when she was at the Denver airport. I got her into the lounge because I flew United quite a bit as well, so I know all the lounge stuff there, and all
the lounge singers.
All the lounge singers, exactly. It's you get used to stuff very, very quickly. But I would say if I had to pick, you're going to laugh maybe at this. I have two favorite airports.
Okay.
Denver is up there. Don't get me wrong. I still like the Denver airport. It's very easy for me. It was when I was traveling there, because I knew it just like you did. But still a very large airport. But my favorite airports in this order would be El Paso.
Oh, Oh gosh, been years since
small
I've been
airport.
There.
Yeah, it's very small, very easy, very quick. Because I like quick. And Raleigh, Durham, but only the new terminal in Raleigh. Not because they have two terminals. They have the old one and they have the new one. If you fly Southwest, you're going into the old one. If you fly American, you're going into the new one.
I know exactly what you're talking. So is that RDU? Is that Raleigh Durham?
Yes. Yep.
So you go to RDU and you go, not the old terminal, and only after midnight on a Thursday. It's like you're.
No, that's Nashville. Do not fly into Nashville on a Thursday.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine. I won't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Change all of those plans. Don't go to BNA on a Thursday. Yes,
yep.
Okay. That's a good rule of thumb. You're taking notes out there, listeners and viewers.
Thursday, the two worst days, Thursday and Sunday.
BNA X on Thursday and Sunday. Okay, good. See, this has been of value to our viewers and listeners this week.
So. It's about time we've had some travel conversations. It used to be that was what got us to the heights of our podcast.
Do you think?
All 40 listeners.
At the same time.
At the same time. 7 years later, what can I do?
Raising their hands at once. I have a question. This is not live, but really close.
Oh, it's not working.
It's really close. Oh, your thumbs
Now
up.
It's not working again. Let me scratch my arm.
Your arm. Yeah.
I wasn't scratching under my arm. Yeah, for those of you who are only listening, I was scratching on top of my arm.
Let's rewind.
It was my shoulder.
Whatever. You were like, it was a breast scratch or something. Can we call it breasts if you're a man?
No, that's down here more.
Well, not since you've been dieting. Nice. We have to recreate that screenshot I got when for some reason oddly enough, we said something funny, and obviously it's been a long time ago. But I got the screenshot.
That was like season 2.
Both of our heads with Pat laughing our butts off. And that was a good one. We don't get enough of those. It's either one or the other, or we turn to the left and laugh or something like that.
Yeah. Well, you move so much that every time I try to do a screenshot, it's like blurry.
I'm blurry because I'm fast. It's like I'm.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, because I'm so.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
See what I mean?
Sorry, I'm very itchy right now.
Are you?
So I came from, we were riding around in the Jeep, but I didn't have I actually put the Freedom Tops back in because there was a threat of rain. And I thought, okay, because we had to go to the CSA place and get our Starbucks.
Tell people again what CSA is, so they're
community sourced agriculture.
So it's what's sourced in the box or what's in the. It's not a bushel or a peck.
Which one's I had got the smaller one. I think it's a peck.
Peck is smaller.
Yep. Yeah, it's a half a peck.
Yep. Okay. And what kind of things did you get?
This week I got there were some tomatoes in there, some zucchini, some summer squash.
Nice.
We've been getting a lot of celery. Like we can't eat this as much celery as they've been giving us. We can't eat it fast enough, and I don't like celery, so that makes it even tougher.
Yeah.
There was some. I did see some eggplant. I'm not a big eggplant fan.
It does have a lot of flavor to it, a lot of taste to it. It's almost like mushrooms in that it absorbs.
Yeah, but I like mushrooms, and I don't like eggplant.
I do too. I love both, but they're Anyway,
well, you can come and have my eggplant.
I plan to. I will be there tomorrow.
That was disgusting. I didn't think about that before it came out of my mouth.
You can have my egg. Well, you shouldn't have put it in your mouth before you tried to have me come and get it.
What else? I did pick up. That wasn't part of the box, but or the basket, but I did pick up some peaches and some local honey.
Oh, so you can. I like that. So is it like a farmer's market around?
Yes.
Okay, and you just get the pre-selected stuff.
Yep, and
cool.
The really interesting thing is, and I had to ask while I was there because I hadn't seen it before. They actually have one of those big sheds that they've turned into a shop. So they have a whole bunch of farm stuff. I didn't go in, but I need to next time because I did not know it existed. So I'm going to try to help you visualize this. When you pull into the parking lot, it's at a three-way intersection. And it's the parking lot is where an old building, it must have been a gas station, used to sit. So the foundation is still there, but it's a dirt road with a building foundation.
Okay.
And then there's a shed, and then there it goes again. There's a shed.
What was that for?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's going nuts. I think I might need to restart my computer.
Let's wait till we're done.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
I'm liking the fireworks.
You always like fireworks.
Hello.
Anyway, so there's a shed and then there's a carport, one of those old metal carport things. And that's where the shop usually is. And that's for the last 6 weeks. That's where I've been going to pick up my CSA.
Okay.
I didn't know. And they've always had stuff behind it. Like they've got all of the hothouses or what do they call hothouses up north where I grew up?
The greenhouses.
Greenhouse. Thank you.
Yeah.
They call them hothouses down here.
Okay.
Anyway, so all the greenhouses were back there and they usually have flowers. And when I went to pick up pumpkins and stuff, it's always in this back area behind the the carport thing. Well, today I show up and the carport thing is completely empty except for some people preparing to do flowers. And I'm like, okay, I'm confused. And I go up to the counter and there's signs saying you have to check in, but there was no one there. And I'm looking all around and then I look back and they have a new tent up where they had all of the vegetables in like a store area. And I'm much bigger than the lean-to. And I'm like, okay, this looks new. And I walk back there and that part was new. And I pick up my honey and my other stuff and I give them my old basket and, I go pick up my new basket. But as I'm sitting there checking out, I look over to my left and here's this building that I had never seen before. And it's a shop inside. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. How long, you guys just opened that? And they're like, no, it's been here for about a year. I come to the stand all the time, and this is the first time I've noticed this thing. Not paying any attention. Well, it's hidden. Well, and I would not have noticed it, except that they have this new tent set up, and I think they're doing a flower shop in the front. I don't know if it's just a pop-up or if this is the new thing. So anyway, there's a new shop there. So I need to go in.
For you amateur podcasters, I'm going to show you a little trick here. This is how we draw the content together toward the end. And we're probably getting toward the end, but not quite.
We're getting close.
We are getting close. So maybe the people who got into the barn were on TSA Pre-Check.
Oh. Ouch.
Gee, I wonder how long he's been waiting to do that.
Right?
Through Nick's entire flower
story. The moment I started. Yep. On that note, John, I don't even know if we can go any further on this pod. I mean, that was like mic drop.
I'm not going to. This thing's so fragile already.
Yeah. Don't do that. So anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed this PoddiMouths episode. Go up to our PoddiMouths website, PoddiMouths.com. Check out our merch store. Check out all of the past episodes and all of that junk that you would normally find on a website.
Junk.
But if you were listening on an app, watching on YouTube, or, just anywhere you can actually click that like button, that would be really helpful. And hopefully, more than 40 people will find us.
41.
We won't have to go out and get new jobs just to find new listeners.
Yes, exactly.
We do have some folks from my new position, my news job too, that are now listeners. So that's a happy thing.
Love that. See, I need thumbs up someplace on my screen.
I know. I wish my thumbs up was working.
Your thumbs
there,
but it's a firework. It's not a thumbs up.
Let's see if
I
Peace
want my
does
money
anything.
back.
Peace. There we go. Peace. Thumbs up. There you go. Now it's working.
No.
Thumbs down.
Now that we're done. And it's a rain cloud. Nicely done.
Makes me look like I have hair.
Please. No, it doesn't.
Whatever.
You don't have
Peyton,
hair.
Okay, one last thing and then we'll go. And this is what we'll end on.
Sure.
Peyton looked at me while we were riding around in the Jeep this morning and she said, Dad, did I get my big forehead from you? And I said, Peyton, you don't have a big forehead. I can show you people that have a big forehead. You have a very small forehead. And I said, you'll like this part. I said, don't look at me when you're looking at a forehead because mine ends all the way back here.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
It looks like the bumper on a Chevy.
Yes.
Not
yes.
really.
Yes, I have a big forehead,
You're
but I didn't always have a big forehead.
Very handsome man.
Yeah, you as well. Are we dishing out compliments now?
I'm getting a little sick. Sorry.
All right, folks. We'll see you next week. And for those of you, by the way, because this is coming out on Tuesday, tomorrow for us, because we're recording on a Saturday, is Father's Day. So I want to wish all of you dads out there a very happy Father's Day. Or I hope you had a very happy Father's Day.
Both.
So we'll talk to you soon. See ya.
See you.